too fat to dance. Ashley Pierce's voice cuts through elite Metropolitan Dance Academy like a blade. Maya Washington freezes, mop in hand, her 45-year-old frame filling the gray janitor uniform. The blonde dancer points at Maya with open disgust. Look at her waddle! Brittany Coleman films with her phone. One jump and goodbye floor. The white dancers explode in cruel laughter. Victoria Sterling steps forward, an ice-cold smile spreading across her perfect face. Maya, stick to mopping. Leave grace to the graceful. More vicious giggles. Maya's face burns red. She forces herself to keep cleaning, movements small and apologetic. But watch carefully. Even humiliated, Maya's feet slide into perfect fifth position. Her arms trace flawless lines reaching for corners. 20 years of training lives in her bones, invisible to these cruel eyes. Have you ever been so thoroughly dismissed that people forgot you were actually listening? Maya Washington lives between two worlds that never touch. By 5 a.m., she's mopping studios where dreams flourish for the chosen few. By 6 p.m., she's patrolling the same hallways in a security guard uniform. The double shifts pay for her diabetic mother's medication and her daughter's college fund, but leave Maya existing in perpetual exhaustion. Elite Metropolitan Dance Academy towers 12 stories above Manhattan's Upper East Side. Annual tuition costs more than most people's yearly salary. The walls showcase alumni photos, every face thin, white, radiating confidence that comes from never questioning if you belong. Maya knows these halls intimately. Every scuff mark, every temperamental light switch, every corner where the heating system whistles. What students don't know is that she also knows their technique better than their teachers. During secret late-night sessions in Studio C, Maya watches their recorded classes on security monitors and mentally corrects their sloppy port-de-bras, their lazy turnout, their complete lack of musicality. At size 18 in a world worshipping size 2, Maya has learned to make herself small in ways unrelated to physical space. She keeps movements economical, voice quiet, opinions buried. The baggy uniforms hide curves that once filled custom costumes at Harlem Dance Theater, where she was principal dancer until a torn ACL and the company's closure 15 years ago ended everything. The students have choreographed their cruelty perfectly. There are earthquake jokes when she walks narrow corridors between practice rooms, exaggerated stumbles when she passes, as if her presence disturbs their delicate equilibrium, whispered comments about taking up too much space that follow her like shadows. Maya, smaller steps with those supplies, Victoria suggests with false concern. We wouldn't want accidents. Or the particularly cruel, try the service elevator, dear. The main one seems snug for you. But the worst moments happen in the bathrooms, where thin dancers discuss Maya like she's furniture. Did you see her try to squeeze past the bar? I swear the floor shook. Imagine her in a leotard, the seams would explode. Maya scrubs toilets while overhearing these conversations, each word another small death of dignity. She's become expert at existing in spaces where people forget she has ears, a heart, a history of her own. What they never see are the nights when Maya practices alone in dark studios. Her body remembers what it feels like to be purely expressive instead of constantly apologetic. Her feet still know every step of revelations, every nuance of the river. Her arms still trace air with emotional honesty that technical perfection never achieves. The cruel irony isn't lost on her. She spends days invisible to people who can't execute a proper grand jeté if their trust funds depended on it. Students who stumble through combinations she could perform blindfolded. Rich children playing at art while the real artist empties their trash cans. In her locker, hidden behind spare uniforms and industrial supplies, lives a photograph from 20 years ago. Maya in deep purple costume, arms raised in triumph, face radiant with someone who'd found her calling and mastered it completely. The applause had been thunderous that night. Critics wrote about her commanding presence and powerful artistry. She had been magnificent. The woman in that photo feels like fiction now. Maya catches glimpses of her sometimes in studio mirrors. The artist who once made audiences hold their breath, who could convey lifetimes of emotion in single gestures, who proved dance wasn't about conforming to molds, but shattering them entirely. Victoria Sterling represents everything Maya lost and everything that took it from her. The heiress moves through the academy like she owns it because she will. Born into privilege, trained from childhood, never questioning her right to occupy space or command attention. Victoria's cruelty isn't personal, it's institutional, systemic, the natural result of a world that sees Maya's body as wrong, her presence as intrusion, her dreams as delusion. But that woman in the purple costume still lives inside Maya, waiting. And whether she knows it or not, that woman is about to demand recognition. Every day, Maya watches Victoria teach students who possess a fraction of her talent but 10 times her opportunities. Every day she bites her tongue while Victoria mangles choreography Maya could execute flawlessly. Every day she becomes more invisible while Victoria becomes more visible, more powerful, more certain of her superiority. The Academy's diversity initiatives are jokes, stock photos, and empty promises designed to deflect criticism while changing nothing. Maya has watched talented students of color be dismissed, discouraged, redirected toward more suitable programs. She's seen the subtle ways excellence gets redefined when it doesn't match expected packages. Maya's own daughter Zara studies business instead of dance, despite natural talent that makes Maya's heart ache. "Dancing's not practical, Mom," Zara says. "Look what it got you." That cuts deepest of all that her daughter sees Maya's life as cautionary tale rather than interrupted masterpiece. That the woman who once commanded stages now represents limitation rather than possibility. But change is coming, carried on the tired feet of a woman who never forgot how to fly. The scholarship audition notice appears like false hope. Elite Metropolitan Dance Academy Diversity Initiative. Full scholarships available. The glossy flyer shows smiling, diverse dancers, though anyone knowing the Academy's demographics would recognize this as marketing fiction. 16-year-old Zara Johnson arrives from the Bronx carrying dreams bigger than circumstances. She wears borrowed point shoes and a weathered leotard. When she moves during warm-up, it's with natural musicality that can't be taught. Emotional transparency and expensive training often strips away. Maya watches from the hallway, recognizing her younger self in Zara's fierce concentration. There's hunger there, desperation from knowing this might be your only escape route. Victoria sweeps in like royalty gracing peasants. She settles behind the judge's table with resigned charity work air. Well, let's see what the community has contributed. Zara's audition is breathtaking. She dances like her life depends on it because it does. Every leap carries her grandmother's overtime shifts. Every turn embodies years practicing in cramped bedrooms with YouTube teachers. When music ends, silence follows genuine artistry. Victoria doesn't applaud. She shuffles papers with theatrical boredom. Interesting interpretation. Though we seek dancers, not street performers. The technique is quite rough. Maya's hands clench. She knows this coded language. Perhaps you'd suit programs more aligned with your background. Community centers appreciating raw enthusiasm over refined artistry. Zara's face crumples before forcing back composure. Maya watches this teenager learn her own brutal lesson. Sometimes your best isn't enough when you don't match their narrow definition of worthy. "Excuse me." Maya's voice cuts through silence. "That young woman has exceptional natural ability." Victoria turns slowly, eyebrows theatrically raised. "Maya, dear, custodial duties don't include artistic evaluation." "Stick to what you actually know. 20 years of accumulated silence ignites. What I know is real talent when I see it." Victoria's laugh could cut glass. "The cleaning lady thinks she's qualified to judge dance." She addresses her assistant loudly. What's next? Will you demonstrate proper technique yourself? The challenge hangs like destiny collecting debt. Victoria leans back, a poisoned smile spreading. Actually, let's make this entertaining. If you can prove you understand dance, really understand it, I'll personally reconsider this girl's application. Maya's heart pounds audibly. This is the moment she's avoided 15 years when invisibility is no longer an option. She looks at Zara, sees hope flickering back. All right. I accept. News spreads through elite Metropolitan Dance Academy like wildfire. The fat janitor thinks she can dance. Whispers follow Maya through corridors, a constant buzz of anticipation and mockery that makes her skin crawl and resolve waver. Maya's hands shake, changing out of her uniform in the staff locker room. The photograph of her younger self seems to mock her from its hiding place. That confident woman in purple feels like someone else's story. She catches her reflection in the small mirror and sees a 45-year-old woman with tired eyes and a body dismissed so long she's almost believed the criticism herself. Her phone buzzes. Mom, heard what happened. You don't have to prove anything. Come home. Even her daughter thinks this is a mistake. That night, after her security shift ends and the academy empties except for emergency lighting, Maya stands outside Studio C. Her master key trembles as she debates turning around, pretending this day never happened. She could text Victoria tomorrow, say she reconsidered, that she spoke out of turn. Instead, she unlocks the door. The studio is dark and silent, moonlight creating geometric patterns on the floor. Maya flips on lights and suddenly she's 15 again, walking into her first real studio with holes in her shoes and dreams bigger than circumstances. The mirror doesn't lie, she's older, heavier, carrying disappointment's weight. But when she moves to the center floor, something shifts. Maya begins with simple warm-ups, her body remembering routines burned into muscle memory decades ago. Her feet still know positions, her arms still trace perfect lines through space. As she moves, she makes phone calls. Jerome? It's Maya. Maya Washington. Yes, from Harlem Dance Theater. I need a favor. Jerome Walker had been her partner 20 years ago, before his knee gave out and he transitioned to choreography. Now he's artistic director of the Ailey Company, whose word carries weight in the dance world. Maya explains while practicing Port de Bras, her free hand tracing memories. Maya, baby, what are you thinking? You haven't performed in 15 years. I haven't stopped dancing. I just stopped being seen. Pause, then Jerome's familiar laugh. You always were stubborn. What do you need? Next, she calls Carmen Rodriguez, now dance critic for the New York Times, then Michael Carter, who photographs for Dance Magazine. One by one, Maya reaches out to her former world, the network of artists who remember when Maya Washington was a force. By 3 a.m., Maya has a plan. More importantly, she has backup. She spends remaining hours until dawn practicing, her body protesting demands after years of careful invisibility. But with each movement, each turn, each leap, the woman in the purple costume emerges from exile. The woman who made audiences weep with single gestures, who commanded stages like queens claiming thrones. When the sun rises, Maya Washington stands sweating but tall in the studio center. She's made her choice. Tomorrow, she'll remind the world what they forgot. Word of the impending spectacle draws crowds Elite Metropolitan Dance Academy hasn't seen since annual galas. Students text friends, faculty adjust schedules, parents linger after drop-off, unwilling to miss what promises to be either inspiring upset or catastrophic humiliation. The air crackles with anticipation, usually reserved for car crashes and executions. Maya arrives wearing clothes borrowed from Lost and Found, a simple black leotard stretching across her curves in ways that make the assembled crowd whisper behind hands. Her hair is pulled back in a neat bun, no makeup except lipstick that reminds her of stage lights and better days. As she enters Studio A, conversation dies like someone threw a switch. Victoria presides from behind a white-draped table, looking every inch the queen holding court. She's chosen her battlefield carefully. Alvin Ailey's revelations, specifically Wade in the Water, a piece demanding not just technical skill but emotional depth, spiritual honesty, and physical power that can't be faked. It's a test designed to expose pretenders. "Ladies and gentlemen," Victoria announces with theatrical grandeur, "we're here to witness Maya's interpretation of dance's most challenging works. I've selected Wade in the Water because it requires everything a true dancer must possess: technique, artistry, and—" She pauses, eyes raking Maya's form, "appropriate physical presence." The crowd settles like Romans gathering for gladiatorial games. Ashley holds her phone prominently, already composing captions for Maya's assumed viral humiliation. Brittany has invited Instagram followers to watch her stories for the most cringe content ever. Even younger students look uncomfortable with the bloodthirsty atmosphere, but no one speaks up. Maya stands alone in the studio center, and for a moment she looks exactly like what Victoria wants her to be. An overweight, middle-aged woman who's forgotten her place. Mirrors reflect her image infinitely, each reflection reminding how far she is from the ballet aesthetic dominating these walls. Then the music begins. Opening notes of Wade in the Water fill the studio with haunting beauty, and something fundamental shifts in the room's energy. Maya doesn't move for the first 8 counts, letting music wash over her, letting it remind her body what it knows how to do. When she finally begins, it's with a simple gesture. Arms rising like water, like prayer, like hope refusing extinguishment. The first 30 seconds are careful, controlled. Maya feels her way back into her art, reacquainting herself with the language her body speaks fluently but hasn't been allowed to express publicly. The crowd watches with predatory anticipation, waiting for stumbles, missed beats, confirmation of preconceptions. Then the music swells and Maya Washington disappears. In her place stands a force of nature. What the crowd dismissed as too much body suddenly becomes power personified. Maya's curves create lines classical training never taught. Her weight provides grounding that makes every movement feel inevitable, essential. When she leaps, she doesn't float like wispy dancers they're used to seeing. She commands gravity, negotiates with it, and makes it serve her artistic vision. Ashley's phone wavers as she watches Maya execute sequences that would challenge dancers half her age. Smug smiles melt from faces. Even Victoria's carefully maintained composure shows cracks as Maya moves through combinations, revealing not just technical mastery, but artistic maturity that comes only from living fully in one's body. Maya isn't dancing like someone trying to prove she belongs in this world. She's dancing like someone reminding the world that this art form belongs to her as much as anyone. Her interpretation of Ailey's choreography is both faithful to his vision and uniquely her own, infused with 20 additional years of experience, struggle, and hard-won wisdom. The spiritual dimension of Wade in the Water emerges through Maya's movement in ways that make audience members catch breath. This isn't performance, it's testimony. Every gesture speaks of drowning and salvation, of weight and weightlessness, of finding grace in struggle's midst. Maya's body tells stories thin dancers simply don't have access to. Stories of resilience and survival and beauty that emerges from refusing diminishment. When Maya executes a series of turns that would make principal dancers weep with envy, Ashley stops filming altogether, phone forgotten in her lap. The room has gone completely silent, except for music and soft sound of Maya's breath as she pours soul onto studio floor. Students lean forward unconsciously. Parents exchange glances of recognition. They're witnessing something extraordinary. Faculty members who've spent careers evaluating talent feel their assumptions crumbling with each perfectly executed movement. Maya's dancing reveals the Academy's ugly truth. They've been so focused on bodies that look like dancers, they've forgotten what dancing actually looks like. Technical perfection without soul. Thin bodies executing steps without understanding their meaning. Privilege performing art without comprehending its purpose. But here, in this moment, watching Maya transform space into sacred ground, they remember why dance matters. It's not about fitting into costumes or matching aesthetic ideals. It's about truth made visible through movement, about stories too deep for words finding expression through bodies brave enough to tell them. Maya reaches the piece's climactic section, and her dancing becomes something beyond technique, beyond performance, beyond the petty cruelties that brought them all here. She's not proving anything anymore, she's simply being herself, fully and unapologetically, letting her truth fill every corner of the studio. Victoria watches her carefully constructed worldview collapse with each of Maya's perfect movements. This isn't supposed to be possible. Bodies like Maya's aren't supposed to move like this, aren't supposed to command attention like this, aren't supposed to make rooms full of privileged people question everything they thought they knew about art and worth and beauty. Maya concludes with original choreography that seamlessly flows from Ailey's work, a solo she created 20 years ago but never had courage to perform publicly. It's a piece about invisibility and recognition, about bodies that clean stages where dreams come true, and dreams that refuse to die even when stages are taken away. As music fades, Maya holds her final position. Arms outstretched, head lifted, every line of her body declaring that she is here, she is worthy, she is undeniably magnificent. The silence that follows is deafening, profound, the kind that follows genuine revelation. Then someone starts clapping. Slowly at first, then building, until the entire studio erupts in applause that shakes the mirrors and rattles the windows. Students who came expecting humiliation find themselves on their feet, cheering for something they didn't know they needed to see. Maya stands in the center of it all, breathing hard, sweat glistening on her skin, finally visible after 15 years of invisibility. The woman in the purple costume has returned, and she's magnificent. The standing ovation still echoes in Maya's ears when Victoria's counterattack begins. Within hours, the Academy's security footage mysteriously disappears. Hard drives corrupted, backup systems conveniently malfunctioning, every angle of Maya's triumphant performance vanishing into digital oblivion. Technical difficulties, Victoria explains to the board with practiced innocence. These older systems are so unreliable. But students' phones recorded everything. Ashley's Instagram story, originally intended to capture humiliation, now shows artistic brilliance that's spreading across social media like wildfire. The hashtag #MayaWashingtonDances begins trending, but Victoria has weapons students don't anticipate. Academy lawyers send cease and desist letters to every student who posted footage. Unauthorized recording violates Academy policy, they claim. Legal action will follow non-compliance. Most students, terrified of jeopardizing their expensive education, delete videos immediately. Victoria's next move targets Maya directly. Anonymous allegations surface about inappropriate conduct with students and unprofessional behavior during work hours. The Academy's HR department, conveniently staffed by Victoria's sorority sisters, launches an immediate investigation. "We take these concerns very seriously," Victoria announces during an emergency faculty meeting. Maya Washington has been suspended pending full investigation. She's banned from Academy premises effective immediately. Maya loses both jobs in one devastating blow. The security company, not wanting association with scandal, terminated her contract that same afternoon. 15 years of spotless employment record erased by whispered accusations and institutional protection of privilege. The Academy's board sides with Victoria without question. After all, she's the founder's daughter, heir to the sterling legacy. Maya is just the help who forgot her place. The decision feels inevitable to people who've never questioned their right to destroy lives that inconvenience them. Maya's lowest point comes at 3 a.m., sitting in her empty apartment with overdue bills spread across the kitchen table. Her mother's medication costs have increased. Her daughter's college fund is depleted. The phone rings constantly, reporters wanting to comment on the scandal, former colleagues distancing themselves from controversy. "Maybe I was wrong," Maya whispers to the photograph she's pulled from her locker. The woman in purple stares back accusingly, as if asking why Maya gave up so easily. That's when the pattern breaks completely. Maya realizes respectability politics was always a trap. She spent 15 years trying to be invisible, non-threatening, grateful for scraps from tables where she could have been seated as an honored guest. She cleaned their floors while they stumbled through choreography she'd mastered decades ago. She accepted their cruelty because fighting back seemed impossible. But fighting back was never impossible. It was just inconvenient for people who benefited from her silence. Maya stops apologizing. She stops shrinking. She stops pretending their comfort matters more than her dignity. The phone calls she made during that late-night practice session begin paying dividends. Jerome Walker from Alvin Ailey doesn't just remember Maya, he remembers her genius. Carmen Rodriguez doesn't just remember her dancing, she remembers the articles she wrote about Maya's transcendent artistry 20 years ago. Maya Washington was one of the finest dancers of her generation, Carmen writes in the New York Times the next morning. If elite Metropolitan Dance Academy can't recognize excellence when it cleans their floors, perhaps they shouldn't be teaching dance at all. The article goes viral immediately. Dance magazine follows with a retrospective featuring photographs of Maya's glory days. Michael Carter contributes pictures that remind the world what they'd allowed themselves to forget. Maya Washington was magnificent then, and she's magnificent now. Victoria watches her narrative control slip away like water through fingers. The story was supposed to be about a delusional employee who overstepped boundaries. Instead, it's becoming about institutional racism, body shaming, and the systematic destruction of artistic brilliance that doesn't match narrow aesthetic preferences. Former Harlem Dance Theater colleagues emerge from decades of silence, sharing stories of Maya's artistry that make current allegations seem not just false, but ridiculous. Students begin questioning what other lies they've been told about worthiness, beauty, and who deserves to occupy space in prestigious institutions. The Academy's diversity initiatives are exposed as pure marketing fiction. Parents of color start asking uncomfortable questions about admission policies, scholarship distributions, and why their children are consistently deemed not quite right for premier programs. Victoria realizes too late that destroying Maya Washington was never going to be as simple as silencing a janitor. Maya has community, history, allies who remember when she commanded stages and made audiences weep with single gestures. Victoria attacked not just a person, but a legacy. And legacies fight back. Maya's phone buzzes with text from her daughter. "Mom, I saw the Times article. I'm proud of you for fighting back. It's time I learned to dance like you." The woman in the purple costume smiles back from the photograph. No longer accusatory, but encouraging. Maya Washington stops being invisible by choice. The world is about to remember why that's dangerous for people who profit from her silence. Carmen Rodriguez's New York Times article ignites a firestorm Victoria never anticipated. The dancer they tried to erase spreads across platforms faster than Academy lawyers can contain it. Within 48 hours, #JusticeForMaya trends globally. The dance community awakens like a sleeping giant. Judith Jameson retweets with simple words, "Maya Washington." Remember that name. Mikhail Baryshnikov shares a vintage photo of Maya mid-leap. True artistry transcends all boundaries. Dance Magazine's retrospective features Maya in her purple costume with the headline, "The Principal Dancer Who Never Left the Stage." The article reveals what insiders always knew. Maya Washington was destined for Lincoln Center before injury and racism derailed her trajectory. Maya's phone rings constantly, but now it's Alvin Ailey offering positions, Broadway choreographers seeking collaboration, universities requesting master classes. The woman they tried to disappear becomes impossible to ignore. Ashley Pierce posts a tearful apology video, "I came to capture failure and witnessed greatness." Maya Washington taught me what dancing actually looks like. 3 million views in 6 hours. Elite Metropolitan's board receives dozens of faculty resignation letters. Parents withdraw students citing toxic culture and discriminatory practices. Enrollment plummets as families seek programs that celebrate rather than destroy talent. Victoria watches her inheritance crumble in real time. The Academy's reputation dissolves under scrutiny, revealing its rotten foundation. Board members distance themselves from Victoria's decisions. Jerome Walker appears on Good Morning America. Maya Washington was the most gifted dancer of our generation. Any institution that can't recognize her brilliance shouldn't be trusted with developing artists. The Academy's diversity consultant resigns publicly, stating she can no longer enable institutional racism disguised as artistic standards. Her resignation letter details years of systematic exclusion. The sweetest vindication comes unexpectedly. Zara Johnson's grandmother calls to share that the teenager received full scholarships to 3 prestigious programs, all citing Maya's recommendation. "Your fighting back saved my granddaughter's dreams," the elderly woman says through tears. "Thank you for refusing to stay invisible." Maya touches the purple photograph, now displayed prominently instead of hidden. The woman in the image no longer feels like fiction. She feels like prophecy is fulfilled. Victoria's empire crumbles while Maya's legacy resurrects. The cleaner has become a catalyst, the invisible essential, the dismissed undeniable. But Maya senses this is only the beginning. Victoria Sterling won't surrender without one final, desperate fight. Victoria Sterling refuses to accept defeat. If the dance community wants to lionize Maya Washington, she'll remind them why certain people should stay in their designated places. The gloves come off, and Victoria fights with the ruthless desperation of inherited privilege under threat. Anonymous tips flood social media claiming Maya has serious mental health issues and a history of erratic behavior. Suddenly, carefully edited audio surfaces of Maya supposedly screaming at students, though anyone familiar with sound engineering would recognize the obvious manipulation. Victoria's sorority network amplifies these lies across platforms faster than fact-checkers can debunk them. The Academy's lawyers escalate their intimidation campaign. They send legal threats not just to students who recorded Maya's performance, but to their parents, claiming defamation of institutional reputation and demanding financial compensation for damage to Academy standing. Middle-class families, terrified of bankruptcy from legal fees, pressure their children to retract supportive statements about Maya. Victoria's cruelest weapon targets Maya's family directly. Maya's daughter receives mysterious rejection letters from colleges that had previously accepted her, with vague references to character concerns and family associations. The message is clear. Supporting Maya Washington comes with consequences that extend beyond the dance world. Local news stations, coincidentally owned by Victoria's family friends, begin running segments questioning Maya's sudden fame and suggesting her story might be embellished for sympathy. They interview former colleagues who mysteriously remember Maya as difficult to work with and always complaining about imaginary discrimination. The Academy board, initially panicked by negative publicity, rallies around Victoria once the counterattack gains momentum. "We cannot allow mob justice to destroy a prestigious institution based on one disgruntled former employee's accusations," they announced in a joint statement. "Elite Metropolitan Academy stands by our high standards and commitment to excellence." Maya watches her moment of triumph dissolve into a nightmare that feels depressingly familiar. The same systems that destroyed her career 20 years ago are deploying more sophisticated weapons. Her phone stops ringing with opportunity calls and starts buzzing with reporters asking for comments on allegations of financial impropriety and questions about her mental stability. Several universities quietly withdraw their masterclass invitations. Broadway contacts suddenly become unreachable. Even some of Maya's former colleagues at Harlem Dance Theater distance themselves, afraid of being associated with controversy that might damage their own fragile positions in the dance world. Victoria appears on local television looking appropriately sorrowful. Maya Washington is clearly struggling, and we sympathize with her situation. However, we cannot allow our dedication to artistic excellence to be undermined by false accusations. Our students deserve better than being pawns in someone else's personal crisis. The Academy's social media accounts flood with carefully orchestrated testimonials from current students praising Victoria's dedication and mentorship. Parents post about the world-class education their children receive, with subtle implications that critics are simply jealous of success they cannot achieve themselves. Maya's mother's medical insurance mysteriously develops complications, requiring additional documentation and delays in coverage. The security company blacklists Maya from similar positions, citing reputation risks and liability concerns. Bills pile up while opportunities evaporate, creating the exact desperation Victoria hopes will force Maya back into silence. The most devastating blow comes when Zara Johnson's scholarships are suddenly under review, pending clarification of circumstances surrounding the audition process. At the program's cite integrity questions and need for additional verification, though everyone understands the real message. Supporting Maya Washington makes you a target. Victoria's nuclear option activates when she leaks Maya's personnel file, heavily redacted but implying far worse than what's shown. Employee disciplinary actions, multiple complaints, and performance concerns paint a picture of someone barely tolerated rather than systematically oppressed. The document is legally protected from complete disclosure, which only makes the hidden portions seem more damning. Maya sits in her apartment at 3 a.m., bills spread across the table, watching her carefully rebuilt reputation crumble in real time. The woman in the purple photograph seems to mock her now. What good are past glories when present realities can be manipulated so effectively? Her daughter texts, "Mom, maybe we should just let this go. It's not worth destroying our whole family." Maya stares at the message, feeling the weight of 15 years of silence pressing down on her shoulders. Victoria's strategy is working perfectly, making the cost of resistance higher than the price of surrender, ensuring that even victory becomes unbearable. But something hardens in Maya's chest as she looks at that photograph one more time. The woman in purple didn't fight for glory or recognition. She fought because some battles are worth having regardless of the cost, because silence in the face of injustice becomes complicity in its perpetuation. Victoria Sterling underestimated one crucial factor. Maya Washington has already lost everything once. She knows how to survive destruction, and more importantly, she knows how to rebuild from ashes. The real war is just beginning. Maya Washington stares at the fake audio clips playing on her laptop, listening to her voice supposedly screaming at students. The manipulation is obvious to trained ears, syllables spliced together, tone artificially modulated, background noise that doesn't match studio acoustics. But Victoria's counting on most people not listening that carefully. That's when Carmen Rodriguez calls with unexpected news. "Maya, I've been investigating those anonymous tips about you. Guess what? They all trace back to IP addresses registered to Sterling family businesses. Victoria's not as clever as she thinks." The phone starts ringing with different voices, not opportunities this time, but something more powerful: solidarity. Former Harlem Dance Theater dancers emerge from decades of silence, sharing their own stories of systematic exclusion, institutional gaslighting, and careers destroyed by people exactly like Victoria Sterling. "They did this to all of us," says Keisha Williams, now a successful choreographer in Los Angeles. But Maya, You're the first one who fought back publicly. We're tired of hiding. Tired. Jerome Walker goes nuclear on social media. His Instagram post features side-by-side videos, the fake audio alongside real footage of Maya teaching children at a community center, her voice gentle and encouraging. "This is who Maya Washington really is," he writes. "Victoria Sterling should be ashamed." The post explodes across platforms. Professional dancers worldwide share their own stories of body shaming, racism, and institutional abuse. # Dance Justice. For Maya becomes more than a hashtag, it becomes a movement. Michael Carter, the photographer, provides the smoking gun Victoria never saw coming. His archive includes hundreds of behind-the-scenes photos from Maya's Harlem Dance Theater days, but more importantly, it contains images from elite Metropolitan Academy events over the years. Photos showing Victoria's pattern of excluding dancers of color, of steering scholarships toward thin white students, of maintaining an institutional culture that made Maya's treatment inevitable rather than exceptional. "I've been documenting this for years," Michael tells Maya during their strategy session. "I just never had the platform to make it matter." Students begin organizing in ways Victoria didn't anticipate. Ashley Pierce, whose original filming sparked this entire controversy, leads a group called Students for Dance Equality. They coordinate social media campaigns, share their own experiences with the Academy's toxic culture, and most dangerously for Victoria, they start talking to their parents about what they've witnessed. The anonymous tips about Maya's mental health backfire spectacularly when Dr. Patricia Williams, a prominent psychologist and Harlem Dance Theater board member, offers her professional assessment. Maya Washington demonstrates remarkable resilience and emotional intelligence. Anyone questioning her mental health should examine their own biases. Maya's network extends beyond dance. Her daughter's business school professors rally around the family, offering legal advice, media training, and financial support. "We don't abandon our community members," explains Professor Janet Morrison. "Maya raised a daughter who embodies everything we value. That tells us who she really is. The most powerful allies emerge from unexpected places. Parents of current elite metropolitan students, initially swayed by Victoria's narrative, begin questioning their assumptions when their own children share stories of cruelty they've witnessed. "I sent my daughter there for excellence," one mother posted on Facebook. "I didn't realize I was paying for her to learn institutional racism." Tech-savvy supporters conduct digital forensics on the manipulated audio files. Their analysis, shared widely online, proves beyond doubt that Victoria's evidence is fabricated. The revelation doesn't just discredit the specific claims, it raises questions about everything else Victoria has alleged. Carmen Rodriguez publishes a follow-up investigation titled "The Sterling Method: How Privilege Weaponizes Institutions." Her reporting reveals a pattern spanning decades: talented dancers of color systematically excluded, scholarship funds mysteriously unavailable to diverse applicants, and a network of elite institutions that protect each other's discriminatory practices. Maya watches her phone light up with messages from dancers, teachers, parents, and advocates worldwide. Victoria's attack created something the dance world desperately needed but never had: a unified voice against institutional racism and body shaming. "You know what we need now?" Jerome suggests during a video call with the core team. "A public demonstration that shows the world what dance really looks like when we stop gatekeeping based on appearance and start celebrating authentic artistry." Maya feels the woman in the purple photograph stirring to life again. Not the desperate performer trying to prove her worth, but the artist who knows her value and refuses to let others diminish it. "What did you have in mind?" Maya asks. Jerome's smile could light up Lincoln Center. "A dance-off, public, live-streamed. You against Victoria Sterling, with the world watching. Winner takes all, loser leaves the dance education world forever." The gauntlet is thrown. Victoria wants a war? Maya Washington will give her one, with the entire dance community as witnesses. "Let's do it," Maya says. It's time to finish this. Central Park's Delacorte Theater hasn't seen energy like this since Shakespeare in the park's biggest premieres. Word of the ultimate dance battle spreads faster than wildfire. Maya Washington versus Victoria Sterling. Winner takes all. Loser leaves dance education forever. The amphitheater fills beyond capacity, with overflow crowds sprawling across the surrounding lawns. Live streams reach millions worldwide. Professional judges take their positions. Martha Graham Dance Company's artistic director, New York City Ballet's principal, and Alvin Ailey's associate director. These aren't Academy board members or Sterling family friends. These are artists whose reputations depend on recognizing authentic excellence. Victoria arrives in a custom white leotard that probably costs more than Maya's monthly rent, her platinum hair styled to perfection. She moves through warm-ups with calculated precision, every gesture designed to remind the audience what they expect a dancer to look like. Her supporters cluster in designated sections, holding signs reading, "Excellence has standards," and "Preserve elite arts." Maya enters wearing simple black, the same leotard from her Academy performance, but now it carries different energy. She's not trying to prove she belongs. She's reminding the world that this art form belongs to her as much as anyone. Her warm-up draws gasps from the crowd as muscle memory awakens. 20 years of excellence flowing through movements that make Victoria's technical perfection look mechanical. "Ladies and gentlemen," the announcer's voice carries across the theater, "tonight we witness a battle for the soul of dance education. 2 visions, 2 approaches, 1 decisive outcome. The format is simple. 3 rounds, different styles, judges' decision final. Victoria chooses classical ballet for round 1, clearly believing her technical training will expose Maya's limitations. And the music begins. Tchaikovsky's Swan Lake, demanding absolute precision and ethereal grace. Victoria performs flawlessly. Every position perfect, every transition seamless, every note matched with corresponding movement. She embodies everything ballet academies teach as ideal thin, pale, technically immaculate. The crowd appreciates her skill, applauding politely when she concludes with a series of pristine fouettes. Maya approaches the same music differently. Where Victoria performed Swan Lake, Maya became it. Her body tells Odette's story: transformation, struggle, longing, despair, redemption. Yes, she's heavier than classical ideals demand, but that weight grounds her performance in emotional reality that makes Victoria's perfection seem hollow by comparison. When Maya leaps, she doesn't float like a feather. She soars like a bird fighting for freedom. The audience response shifts from polite appreciation to genuine awe. Victoria's technique impressed them. Maya's artistry moved them. The judges exchange meaningful glances. Round 2, contemporary dance, Maya's choice. She selects Ailey's Cry, a piece demanding raw emotional honesty and physical power that can't be faked. Victoria attempts it with the same technical approach that served her in ballet, but contemporary dance isn't about perfect positions, it's about authentic expression. Victoria looks like someone performing a dance. Maya looks like someone living a truth. Her interpretation of Cry channels every moment of dismissal, every cruel comment, every day of being invisible while surrounded by mediocrity that thought itself superior. The audience watches 20 years of accumulated pain and resilience transform into a movement so powerful that several people openly weep. Victoria's performance, while technically competent, feels like a pale imitation of emotions she's never experienced. Privilege has protected her from the very struggles that give Maya's dancing its devastating authenticity. Round 3. Freestyle, choreographer's choice. This is where the real battle happens. Victoria creates a piece showcasing her technical versatility, intricate footwork, impressive extensions, movements designed to demonstrate classical training's superiority. It dances as an athletic display, impressive but emotionally vacant. Maya chooses different warfare. She performs the original choreography from her Academy audition, the piece about invisibility and recognition, but now it carries additional layers. This isn't just about her personal journey, it's about every artist whose brilliance was dismissed because their body didn't match narrow expectations, every dreamer told they were too much or not enough. Every person forced to choose between authenticity and acceptance. The choreography builds from quiet desperation to explosive joy, from apology to celebration. Maya's body becomes a manifesto written in movement, declaring that excellence comes in every size, every color, every background that the elite institutions tried to exclude. When she concludes, arms raised not in triumph but in simple truth, the silence that follows is profound. Then the amphitheater explodes. The standing ovation isn't polite appreciation. It's recognition of something transformative. People aren't just applauding a performance. They're celebrating the moment when authenticity defeated artifice, when substance overwhelmed the surface, when the real artist finally got her due. Victoria stands frozen, watching her worldview collapse in real time. Everything she believed about worthiness, about who deserves to occupy space in prestigious institutions, about what excellence looks like, all of it crumbles under the weight of Maya's undeniable truth. The judges don't need deliberation. "Maya Washington," the head judge announces, voice carrying across the now silent amphitheater. "Your artistry reminds us why dance matters. You win, unanimously. Victoria's supporters have already begun leaving, unwilling to witness their champion's complete defeat. But Maya's allies surge forward, not to celebrate victory over a fallen opponent, but to embrace an artist who finally received the recognition she never stopped deserving. Maya stands center stage, breathing hard, sweat glistening on her skin, surrounded by the community that fought beside her. The woman in the purple costume has fully returned, not as a memory, but as living reality. Victoria Sterling's reign over dance education ends not with institutional protection or legal manipulation, but with the simple truth that authentic artistry will always triumph over empty privilege when given a fair stage. The real winner isn't Maya Washington. It's every young dancer who will now see possibility where they once saw limitation. Every dreamer who learned that excellence comes in forms the gatekeepers never expected. The revolution is complete. Maya's victory unfolds like dominoes in perfect sequence. Within hours, Elite Metropolitan Dance Academy's board convenes emergency meetings. Victoria Sterling's resignation arrives before dawn, citing personal reasons, corporate speak for complete disgrace. Dr. Elena Rodriguez, the Academy's new interim director, announces sweeping reforms. "We're implementing the Maya Washington Initiative," she states. "Comprehensive programs ensuring artistic excellence is recognized regardless of body type or background." Maya receives the morning call. "We'd like to offer you Director of Inclusive Arts Programming. Your salary will be 3 times what we paid Victoria Sterling." The transformation goes deeper than professional vindication. Maya finds herself leading a movement reshaping dance education nationwide. Universities invite her for seminars on authenticity in artistic expression. Broadway producers seek consultation on inclusive casting. Dance companies worldwide adopt her methods. Zara Johnson becomes the first Maya Washington full merit scholar, designed for talented dancers who don't match traditional expectations. Within months, 50 diverse students receive similar opportunities. Maya's daughter calls with unexpected news. "Mom, I'm changing my major to dance. I want to learn what you never got to teach me." Their conversation involves tears, laughter, and plans for mother-daughter performances honoring both journeys. Academy culture transforms completely. Students who once participated in cruelty now volunteer for Maya's community programs. Ashley Pierce becomes an anti-bullying advocate, posting to millions of followers. "Maya Washington taught me that recording someone's humiliation says more about your character than theirs." Victoria disappears from the dance world entirely. Rumors surface about retreat to family estates, therapy, and personal reflection. Her Instagram account goes permanently dark. The most satisfying resolution comes through objective evidence. Even Victoria's former allies can't deny. Michael Carter's photography exhibition, Bodies in Motion, Redefining Dance Excellence, opens at Lincoln Center, showcasing Maya's journey and dozens of previously overlooked dancers. Carmen Rodriguez wins a Pulitzer for her investigative series on institutional racism in arts education. Her acceptance speech credits Maya as the catalyst making systemic change possible. Maya's first masterclass at the renovated academy draws standing room crowds in Studio A, the same room where she was humiliated. Dance isn't about fitting into costumes designed for different bodies, Maya tells her audience. It's about letting your authentic self fill whatever space you're given. The Academy creates a permanent bronze plaque in Studio A. Excellence takes many forms. Recognize them all. Maya Washington. The purple photograph no longer sits alone like a shrine to lost dreams. It's displayed alongside recent images. Maya teaching, performing, accepting awards, embracing her daughter. Past and present unified. Maya's mother attends every performance with radiating pride. I always knew my daughter was special. The world just took this long to catch up. Elite Metropolitan, once symbolizing exclusion disguised as excellence, becomes a model for inclusive arts education. Enrollment applications flood in from families seeking environments celebrating their children's artistic potential. Maya stands in Studio A as evening light streams through windows that once illuminated humiliation. Now they illuminate triumph, not over Victoria, but over systems that tried convincing her she was invisible. She's not just visible now. She's luminous. 6 months later, Maya Washington stands before a packed auditorium at Lincoln Center. Tonight marks the premiere of Invisible No More, a documentary chronicling her journey from janitor to justice warrior. The audience includes former critics who now call her a visionary, students whose lives she transformed, and Victoria Sterling's replacement, a black woman, who credits Maya's courage for making her appointment possible. But the most meaningful presence is in the front row. Her daughter, now a sophomore dance major, sits beside Maya's mother and Zara Johnson, who earned lead roles in 3 major productions this semester. The purple photograph has multiplied. Dozens of images now document Maya's evolution from hidden artist to celebrated educator. They said I was too fat to dance, Maya tells the audience during her post-screening talk. But my body was never the problem. Their vision was too small. Real dance isn't about fitting into costumes. It's about filling stages with truth. The applause thunders through Lincoln Center, but Maya raises her hand for silence. This isn't my story alone. This is about every person who's been told they're too much or not enough. Every dreamer is dismissed because they don't match someone else's narrow definition of worthy. She pauses, letting her words sink in. Excellence wears every face, carries every story, moves through every body type. When we stop gatekeeping art based on appearance, we discover magnificence we never knew existed. The documentary's final scene shows Maya teaching in Studio A, the same space where Victoria once humiliated her. But now the mirrors reflect faces of every color, bodies of every size, dreams of every background. The bronze plaque catches afternoon light. Excellence takes many forms. Recognize them all. Maya's voice continues over the closing credits. I spent 15 years invisible, watching mediocrity dismiss brilliance because it didn't recognize itself in the mirror. But here's what I learned. We don't need their permission to shine. We just need courage to stop hiding our light. The screen fades to black, then displays a simple question in white text. Who in your life has been made invisible by someone else's limited vision? As audience members file out, many wipe tears from their eyes. They're not just leaving a movie, they're carrying a mission. The woman who was too fat to dance became the catalyst for revolution, proving that sometimes the most powerful performances happen when we refuse to stay silent about injustice. Maya's story reminds us that transformation doesn't require permission from people who benefit from our invisibility. It requires only the courage to stop apologizing for taking up space we've always deserved. Did you catch the moment at 47? 23. When Maya's expression changes from doubt to determination? Watch it again. That's the exact second she stops being a victim and becomes a victor. If you've ever been underestimated because of how you look, drop A in the comments below. Share this story to remind someone that their dreams aren't too big. Other people's imaginations are just too small. Like this video if you believe talent deserves recognition, regardless of packaging. Subscribe for more stories about ordinary people doing extraordinary things when they refuse to accept no as a final answer. Remember, you don't need anyone's permission to be magnificent. You just need the courage to stop hiding your brilliance. The stage is waiting. It's time to dance.
The story you heard today wasn't cleaned up. It was told exactly as it happened. At Black Voices Uncut, we believe that's the only way truth can live. If you felt something, hit like, comment, and your reaction, and subscribe. Every week, we bring you voices that refuse to be silenced.